Hi everyone, it's Elaine Hamilton from the Reiki Center, and today I'm here with the lovely Debbie Lindsay, and we are having a chat. I think it's going to be a really interesting chat actually about Reiki, neurodiversity, health challenges, all kinds of, whatever comes. Debbie lives in Hitchin in the UK, so this is a UK Reiki master I'm chatting with. Welcome, Debbie.
Hello.
So let's do a little bit of background for you first. Give us a little kind of a summary of your Reiki journey to date, I guess, and then we'll take it from there.
So I first got introduced to Reiki in 2000 when I first moved to Hitchin from London. Practiced it for a while, but then kind of was doing my career as a social worker, got married. My husband has a brain injury, so I was like a full-time carer, full-time working, part-time working. So Reiki kind of went by the board. And I'd also never done it on myself. And then in 2017, I was in Singapore and through a mutual friend, met Elaine, and started my Reiki journey again because she gave us Reiki every day, me and my husband, when we were in Singapore, more or less. And it was amazing. And it woke something up in me. And then for my great good luck, she came to live in Letchworth, which is about 2 miles away from my house. And my friend said to me, you've got to go, you've got to go. So I started again, learning Reiki 1, 2, 3, and teachers. And I just discovered it was my passion, it was my love, it was a deeply spiritual path for me, a deep commitment to Reiki and all that it does and all that it brings, and an introspection on myself. I had never before practiced it on myself, and this is what I learned this time, was the self-practice is for me the most important thing. So that's my background, and I've been doing Reiki daily, a daily self-practice since I think about the end of 2018, certainly the beginning of 2019. I don't ever miss a day. I have a morning practice and an evening practice. That's my
Interesting. And
background.
so I've got other things to talk about as well in the back of my mind, but just in terms of your daily practice, how would you describe that? Like, what do you do?
Every morning, I will give myself, I used to do an hour, but I don't anymore. I do the three, it was just too much. So I do 3 minutes on each position. So I do the 12 Reiki positions without fail. I will send to other people. I send to my mum most days, a couple of friends most days. And also, if I'm working on some particular aspect of myself, my life, my consciousness, I'll do a send directly to that. So it probably takes about, by the time I finish faffing and talking to my cat, because I send Reiki to my cat most days as well. And she loves it. She absolutely loves it. By the time I finish doing all that, it probably takes about an hour and 10 minutes. In the evening, I do my chakras. I do a chakra balance. So that's just a 15-minute treatment. That's every day of my life without fail. And the amazing thing about it is I do it wherever I am in the world. So it's a totally portable practice. Yeah, it's just portable.
Amazing. And I'm going to backtrack a bit because this is something that seems to be very prevalent in the UK in particular, is this idea that you would learn Reiki without the aspect of the self-treatment.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I agree, because when I first started Reiki, I was getting all these amazing visions and I was treating people, but I thought you're not it's not doing it properly. It was too much for me, and I didn't have any idea about treating myself. And when I treat, of course, you have to maintain your practice to be able to treat other people. You need to be in a good space yourself to treat other people, basically. But it's not even, it is about that, but it's the main focus of my practice now, is that I use Reiki on myself. I have changed so much since I've been doing Reiki on a daily basis. And any situation, it provides the answer. Well, you have to do the footwork, but it provides the answer for the highest, greatest good. So sometimes it doesn't look pretty, but I have faith in Reiki, and I just keep on with my practice, keep on with my journey, and it stabilizes, harmonizes, and balances me, whatever I'm going through, really.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is the key thing that, or the key philosophy. And maybe it is like Asian or Eastern Western differences in philosophy, because it seems to me that like a lot of the Asian energy practices, like Tai Chi, Qigong, for example, in order for you to apply that for other people, especially energy healing, it's almost like the energy has to come from or through you. So if you are not a clear and clean vessel, then what's the quality of the energy that's coming through
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
And somehow
It
or
makes no
other,
sense.
it
Yeah.
just in the West, it just seems that aspect of it seems to be completely lost. And it always fascinates me that people think, like, you look at doctors and there's some of the highest smoking rates in doctors, and you've got, it's kind of like that. So the people that are delivering the healthcare, mental health nurses or psychiatrists or counselors, are often the ones that really need some
Yeah.
serious supervision as well for themselves. That's kind of, in a sense, it makes sense, because that's why you're attracted into the industry, to almost, I think it's an unconscious urge to find out about yourself or to know more about yourself. And then when that aspect of the teaching gets lost and you're not doing your inner work, then you know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, then
You
you've
can't
lost that
practice.
aspect. You
Yeah.
can't, you really
And for
can't.
me, it's like, if I never gave Reiki or never taught anyone again, obviously I would be upset and I would react, but I would still have my practice.
Right.
Anybody can come into my life, anyone can leave my life. I still have my practice. So that's it. It's the central foundational fundamental core of my life. And that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And yeah, yeah. And it's really important, because if I'm not topped up, how can I teach well? How can I give a good treatment? I met there was one girl I met, and she was having a lot of problems with her boyfriend, and she'd done Reiki in London, and she had to do 50 hours of training on other people, and but she wasn't treating herself. And it was like, well, do the treatments, but treat yourself, because then you'll get the benefits. How can you get the benefit? How can you even treat someone or have the experience if you don't know yourself? You
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
It's like Elaine says, our friend Elaine, our good friend Elaine, it's like telling aliens what an orange tastes like, but they've got absolutely no idea until they taste the fruit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really bizarre. So I have to say that the one of the probably most interesting things about training you as a Reiki master was your neurodivergence.
Yeah.
So it really opened my eyes in a way. And I must admit, I do sometimes look back and I'm like, oh my God, how many other people struggled and just never told me? Because, I'm neurotypical and I am a visual learner. So a lot of my materials tend to be on videos or through quite a lot of information, because for me, I intake a lot of information and I'm very quick. My processing speeds are very quick. So therefore, I tend to teach like that. And I remember when we first started, this idea of, okay, it needs to be really shifted so that I am teaching you in a way that you can absorb rather than the way that I absorb. So that was a massive learning for me, and really, it was really fun in a way. It was really fun to strip it all down and go, okay, what do you need? So do you want to talk us through a little bit about, like, what do you suspect is your neurodivergence? Like, what have you got going on, and how does that make it different for you in terms of learning?
I don't know what my neurodivergence is. I know that I've never been formally diagnosed with anything, but I've always struggled with, at school, I couldn't learn. I just couldn't learn. Exams were very difficult. My time of writing or absorbing information, it was ridiculous, like for my A levels, but I'm very committed. So if I try and do the thing. So for my A levels, I was studying 10 hours a day. And my mum ended up saying to me, why don't you just go out and get pregnant? Just do something teenagery. Why are you sitting studying for 10 hours a day? That's what she ended up saying. So it takes me a long time. And then there's a condition that they call Erlin syndrome, which I think they apply across the board. So one thing I do know, sorry, I'm jumping, and that is part of my neurodiversity. I know that I'm dyspraxic. That's what I do know. So I'm clumsy. Words move. I'm not dyslexic. I don't remember what the difference is, but I'm not dyslexic. But words move up and down. I don't see. I don't read kind of unless I have to, but I'm now starting to learn to be able to read. Words will move on the page. I will lose concentration very quickly. I get very stimulated, overstimulated by a lot of noise and by too much going on around me here. So I went to see this Erlin practitioner, and that's basically an umbrella term they use that works with autistic people, people with ADHD, ADD, dyslexics, dyspraxics. And it's just what I've found about it. It's a medium that they use, or a technique that they use, which can help everybody. So I have these glasses, my color changes. So they talk about that you're allergic, in inverted commas, to various colors in the light spectrum. So my big one is I'm allergic to red. But I've been working with this probably for about 6 years, and I've had 3 color changes. So now it's kind of blue and gray. And when I have my glasses on, just my world calms down. It's like it's calmer in here. If I'm very overstimulated, I'll put earplugs in and I can just calm down. I have blue paper that I write on. So I'm trying to show you the blue paper. So it's that color. It used to be green. I write with blue pen. I have a blue overlay, and this all helps me read and process information. I think the other thing that I used to do, and I still do it if I'm stressed and I've got stuff to read, is I used to read the text backwards, paragraph by paragraph backwards. If I had a big report at work that I was supposed to read, and I knew I was going to get into trouble if I didn't read it, because I just didn't read stuff because I couldn't. This is before I found this treatment kind of stuff. I used to read stuff backwards, paragraph up at a time, and it was the only way I had of remembering it. Well, not just taking some of it in.
Yeah.
So now when I'm learning to read now, I'm because I still don't read. I kind of got phobic about reading because it was so difficult. I will read the first paragraph and the last paragraph, but also before that I'll feel the book. I'm a sensory person. I'm tactile. I'll feel the book. I'll open. It's called book prepping. I'll open the book. I take sections of the pages, I smooth them down. I'll look at the contents of what the books, the titles for each chapter, and then I'll look at the index. And so that I get some familiarity about the book, and then I'll read the first paragraph of the chapter and the last paragraph. And I seem to be retaining. I'm still learning, so there's still more. So I haven't looked at the middle parts yet. But this is what I do, and it's really helping me. I think the other thing I have difficulty with is speaking, getting what's inside outside in a way that other people understand. It can become distressing, because if I'm working with somebody who's neurotypical and they may process stuff in a linear fashion, I'm not like that at all. I'm also very quick, so I will process, but I will be processing many things at a time, all at the same time, and it gets people very confused. It doesn't confuse me at all. I think I'm being very clear, very articulate. But the person on the receiving end of me is like, oh my God, can you shut up? Can you just stop? Because it's too much for them. So that's the main thing. I used to always wear a hat. I used to have a hat because there was just too much noise here. I couldn't focus in the kitchen unless I had my hat on. I couldn't cook because I just couldn't focus. So when I put my hat on, it was like suddenly, I know I need to get the vegetables out of the fridge. I need to get a knife. I need to get a chopping board, and I need to cut them. And then I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. I still will now because I don't wear my glasses in the kitchen because I wouldn't cope with varifocals. So I have short-sighted and long-sighted. So it's too much of a hassle to put them on, take them off. So I get very confused and upset about the tidying up, because as I go along, I don't tidy up. So I'm trying to learn to slow stuff down, to have a plan. If I'm being good or organized, I write a list of stuff to do. That helps me enormously. So what it is, I've just found ways to manage it, basically, that work for me.
Yeah.
And also it makes my life with other people easier because they're not like me. I'm not like them. And also what I found, I got quite upset some time back because I didn't know if I'm autistic, if I'm ADHD, if I'm this, if I'm that. And it's like, which box do I stand in? Because I actually probably stand in about 5 of them.
Yeah.
How do I treat myself? And then it was just like, no, you don't have to put yourself in a box. There are just these differences. And that's given me so, and there are things that I'm uncomfortable with about how I might appear or how I come across or how I do things. And when I can know what those are, then I can change. I've got a hope of changing them if I'm not in a box, basically. I can just find a way to change it, really.
Yeah.
But there's also the thing about accepting how I am too. That's the other big journey. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when we were doing our training, like obviously you were struggling a lot with the content. And I think one of the things actually in my viewpoint that makes you such a wonderful healer and teacher is the fact that you had to fall back on your experience and your inner truth rather than being able to regurgitate the history and the this and the that and the all the technicalities. It's almost like stripping Reiki right the way back to like you say, a very deeply spiritual practice and what the impact is on you or yourself, which doesn't require any so-called intellectual knowledge.
Yeah.
Right.
That was such a, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, and that for me is actually the essence of Reiki anyway, right? Like it's not where Reiki came from and what year Asui was born, and it's not, Reiki's got nothing to do with all that stuff. Reiki is actually a deeply personal journey.
Yeah. I remember because I think Johnny was the one who dared to tell you that the problems I was having, because I just kept writing it out, that the information we had, I kept writing it and writing it and writing it and highlighting it and trying to learn it all. And I remember you saying to me, you're so dedicated, just not, it wasn't even that, it's like you'd have given up. You said I wouldn't have persisted. And it was just like, but I want to learn the thing. And then you gave me this great gift, was just do it what you know. Yeah, just do what you know. And I used your framework, but I wrote from what I knew, and I made it really simple because that's what I know, just how it came through me. And there was obviously a framework I had to put it on, but I could understand, and I wrote my manuals. I'm talking about writing the manual for Reiki 1, just the questions I had. So I actually wrote the question out in the manual, like, what does Reiki do? And then I could give the answer. So that's, yeah. So it made sense. It made sense to this mind. It's not even a mind, to this consciousness, this way of being here.
Yeah. So I really love that. And that your ongoing journey of self-acceptance, right? It's kind of like rather than because I do think that for some people, when they're neurodiverse, they can fall into the traps of just feeling a little bit sorry for themselves. It's like life is so hard because everyone else is doing it like this and I can't. But like you say, rather than trying to put yourself in a box or trying to figure out what's wrong with you per se, it's more like, okay, figuring out what works for you. Right.
Yeah, because just because we're neurodiverse, my great big thing was I always thought I was stupid, and I'm not. I'm actually really fast, really smart, but my processing is a bit bewildering for other people. So I need to, and then that gets me upset when I see that when I see that someone's finding me difficult, I get upset. That's not even correct languaging, but when I see they're having a problem with the way I'm presenting, that's upsetting for me. So then I can try and tailor it to, that's where I'm learning now is, okay, so you've got someone who's neurotypical, who's very, very linear, and the tedium of it is going to kill me probably. I just need to think, slow down, be with your meditation, your teaching, you're passing information on. It's your duty to pass it on in a way like you went through with me. I need to pass it on in a way that they're going to get, because otherwise what type of teacher am I? So that's where the learning is now. That's where it is now.
Yeah, nice. And how do you think, coming back to how Reiki has benefited that, like, do you think that Reiki's had an impact on the way you think at all, or do you think it's more like Reiki has helped you with the acceptance of the way that you process?
I think Reiki provides a container for me, just provides a container. So I'm not sure how to answer the question, but what I can tell you is it provides a container for me to do all my exploratory work on myself. If I'm teaching a student, I trust that I'm going to do my footwork. Reiki's never going to do it for me, but it's just going to, if I go with, it's like going in with prayer and in with intention. And Reiki is me and I'm Reiki anyhow, then the correct thing is going to happen between me and that person anyhow, whether that means I complete my teaching or whether it means, no, this isn't right, need to stop. So I need to trust that process. Does that answer your question?
Well, I mean, it was an open question just to see how it was for you, really. Yeah.
I just don't know what that was. It gives me the container. It makes me feel supported. It makes me feel safe. So I can explore everything I need to explore within that, whether it's internally with myself or outside. So yes, I know when I am doing my Reiki, well, I'm never not doing my Reiki, that the right thing's going to happen, whatever that is. I have that implicit faith and trust.
Right. Yeah.
The right thing, whatever that may be.
You know, it's interesting. Because I've done a few interviews now, and this is the overriding theme that comes up over and over again, is that Reiki gives us like this deeper trust. You know, like this deeper trust, like you say, whether you call it a container or whether you call it just, you know, the universal life force has kind of got your back, as it were, or that there is a greater process of which we are part of. And then there's this kind of flow that happens. And I think often when we do our Reiki practice, we start to really connect in and feel that larger sense of energetic movement or evolution that's happening around us, and that it's not just us trying to navigate everything all by ourselves. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's profound. It's profound. And there's one anecdote. Thank you. I can't say that word again, but anyhow, one story I'd like to say when I was at work. So there was this woman that I had to ring about a service, and I was not talking to her in a language that she liked. And so the phone call, it started to fragment, it started to go wrong, and I couldn't bring it back. So I started drawing the Reiki symbols in the air on the phone and sending the harmony symbol. And what ended up happening was she got so annoyed with me that she hung her phone up. So because I'd offended her, but I hadn't meant to. I hadn't been sensitive. I hadn't, some of the neurodiverse stuff, as well as I don't always pick up the cues. So I hadn't realized quite how sensitive the subject was. And I was trying to make a joke to ease the information that I was going to give, basically. Anyhow, went wrong. She hung up her phone in disgust. I rang my manager, who called her, smoothed it over. And then he said to me, you need to put your big girl pants on and call her and apologize. And that's how so I called her and I apologized, and then we were able to have a working relationship. So that's because I did the symbols. It's like sometimes it's too far gone here in this realm to sort it out, so the thing needs to end, but there's always a way. So I had to go and say, I'm sorry, I spoke to you in a way that wasn't conducive. I didn't realize, and I'm apologizing. Can we move forward? And then it was beautiful. We had a good relationship, a good working relationship.
Yeah. Amazing. So you also mentioned that your husband, who obviously I know very well, is brain damaged. So give us a little bit of insight in terms of how the Reiki supports you, or just how you manage, because caring in and of itself is a very difficult job. And then caring, and on top of being like neurodiverse and all the rest of that with the organization and all that kind of stuff. So Yeah, how is all that?
Well, he's also neurodiverse. So
I would say.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like there's an explosion, but we get each other. We just really get each other. So I think one of the things, so I'm always, this is one of the super talents as a neurodiverse person I have. I can be talking to you, but I'm perhaps I'm wondering if what I'm saying is correct, but I'm always got my eyes and my ears out for him. So I'm listening. I don't think this is to do with neurodiversity. This is to do with just being a carer of someone that you love, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm always listening with all my ears, with all my eyes, with all my body to him. So it's chaotic, but Reiki, he's himself a master healer of the universe. And so we will give each other Reiki a lot, but not on a formal basis. He might just lie and, if I've got a stomach ache, I'll say, can you please give me some Reiki on my stomach? And the pain will go. And then at the moment, he's in a few pains, so I'm just giving him Reiki. How does it work? How does the Reiki help? It provides something larger for both of us. I don't know how to necessarily say this in language, but it just, again, provides a container. I think it gives me personally more energy to carry on, more stamina. Because I have a daily practice, because the caring role, because he's getting older and there's some deterioration, and some of it is very distressing for me. When he's in a lot of pain, it's horrible for me. It helps me manage myself around it. It helps me realize that I cannot fix him because I did keep trying. I try to a much lesser extent. And to also say, okay, this distress that you've got around his, so I'm able to see more clearly this distress that I've got around your pain. That's there is no me, my I, but that belongs to me. I need to attend there because otherwise I'm at risk of putting it on you. So I think how the Reiki helps is it shows me what's mine. It shows me what isn't mine, what I need to leave with him. And it also, there was something else I was going to say. I don't know what that noise is. It's a door somewhere. It's also, what does it do? It allows me very clearly to know when I've reached my limit. So I can't massage you right now. I can't deal with whatever it is right now because I'm tired and I need to rest. Give me some time, then I can come back. So I think it's really important. That's one really, really important thing that it does. And where I am with it now, it's helping me understand he will deteriorate. Yeah, he's deteriorating. There are more things happening. Some of them just come from left side. They blindside me. I've got no idea what's going to happen. I didn't think I'd be dealing with some of the stuff that I'm dealing with, but it just helps me. Okay, just a day at a time. It just paces me and keeps me there a day at a time and also it helps me realize it's a big load that I'm dealing with, with myself and B, with him. Yeah. But I think the fundamental thing besides the Reiki is him and me we're the best of friends. We have a very deep soul connection. And so it's like, we've been across the world together. This is Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We've been to Australia together 8 or 9 times. We've been to India. We've been to, not Spain. We haven't been to Spain yet. We've been to Amsterdam. We've been to Denmark. And we do it. And even though it ends up with me in the airport in tears because the car hire shop is shut. No, car hire shop is shut. And he's tired. And so he's being really talkative. It helps me. It's like, okay, next step. The desk is over there. So I've gone to the desk. I've just cried at the desk. She's not helped me, but I found a person who can. So it just helps me, like, just the faith that I will get there. I will get there. It might not look in the normal way, but we've done it. We've been to Australia 8 times and we've done it. Yeah.
I think that's it's just so lovely because it's kind of like when we set aside what's normal or expected, then you can just do whatever needs to come out. And if that means you need to release through sobbing at the woman at the car hire, that's fine. That's just what happens. And I think giving ourselves permission to get through or express ourselves however that needs to come out is so liberating, right? Where it's just like, okay, I know most people might be able to hold it together and not cry all over you, but this is the way that I'm expressing right now my need for support or my need for something to shift. And I think that's great.
It's amazing. And even like with the packing, because packing's a major thing. Yeah. So we had help with packing in terms of our friend Elaine. She taught me about packing cubes, which made it these things made it so much easier, but I had to have teaching with how to pack, and like with the house, how to organize, because I didn't understand that things have places. I just had no concept. So and the lessons, they still go on even now, because it's like I want to tidy my kitchen, because I just need to throw stuff out and put it in baskets, and then I'll understand it. It's just literally to make organize my life in a way that I understand it. And the traveling thing, yes, because it's for me to manage him through the airport and manage with my neurodiversity. So like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of information written in teeny tiny letters on notice boards. So I don't know how I did it, but we have special assistants now.
Oh, and there's Kanal.
Oh, hello. This is just been talking about you.
Hello, darling.
We're doing an interview. This is, put your head in. This is
the master of the universe of healing.
Oh, we've just been talking about neurodiversity.
Oh, yeah, well, I am that.
Yeah. And how we manage and how we've got across the world.
I've always been that since school.
Yeah.
Amazing. Really good, honey. Really good. We're doing a little interview for YouTube.
Today. It's not fair.
We're doing an interview for you.
So if you're in Letchworth today, you'd be 5 degrees more.
Yeah. How's your neck doing? How's your neck doing? Is it feeling a bit better?
I'm still off and on. I'm not going. It's awkward and I move it like that. And it's ow.
Yeah.
We're trying to go to the chiropractor today.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guitar friend I went to school with, so we'll see.
But thank you, because he wouldn't go yesterday. All right, go on, Canal. I'll see you soon.
Bye, sweetie.
Thank you.
Oh, special guest. Special.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I love that. Oh my God, perfect. Oh dear.
On cue.
Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, because not only have you been navigating your own neurodiversity, carer for Canal, and also you've had your own health challenges, and you've had, I mean, honestly, Debbie, since I've known you, you have been through such a huge transformation on every single level, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I am gonna put a link for your website, but we've just built a website for you.
Yes.
And
thank you.
Yeah, which is so exciting. And part of that also is coming into your own as a coach for people with issues with food. So do you want to talk a little bit about your own journey with that? Because that's been honestly stunning to witness. Yeah.
So my own journey with that is I've kind of tracked it back now. I've developed an eating disorder when I was about 5. I used to use food to soothe myself. And I remember the first time I went on a binge, basically, and I remember putting the food in my mouth. I've understood now, what the why of it. So I had a really big eating disorder. I'd say, it started at the age of 5. And then when you get into a teenager, I was 11 stone as a teenager, and you're starting to think about, well, in my case, boys and or girl, whoever you think about. But so when I was 8, I was 5 stone, and the other girls in my class, I didn't think about the boys, but the other girls weren't. And then I was 11 and my hair was horrible, and I just got fatter and fatter. And I don't remember when I started dieting, but I always remember being really self-conscious. And then around my clothes, around how my body looked. And then when I got married, so I'd always, what did I do? When I got married, I was about 23 and I'd gone down to 8 stone, but that involved me using diuretics, using laxatives, over-exercising. So it'd been like that all my life. And then when I went on honeymoon, I ate consistently all day, every day. And by the time I got home, I literally did not fit my clothes anymore. I had to get new clothes because I didn't fit them. And then basically, I think I married a man who wasn't right for me at that point. I put on 100 pounds. There was obviously serious issues basically that I was eating to cover up. And I put on 100 pounds in weight. And I woke up every morning vowing that I would not eat the chocolate, I would not eat the cheese, and I would make it till about 11 o'clock. Just was this awful cycle of hating my body, wanting to be slim, thinking about all the amazing colored clothes I could wear when I was slim, living in black, horrible clothes, just horrible clothes, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I went to the doctor in 2008 and I said, please help me. And to my absolute horror, they wanted to make a referral to the mental health team. And I ran out of the office. I said, I have got no mental health problem. I do not have mental health. I don't have mental health issues, not me. Not me. Anyhow, then I went again in 2019 at 19 stone. Please help me, please help me. And they took my referral down. Nothing happened. And then in 2020, February, a friend said to me, why don't you ring them, find out what's happened? So I rang the doctor and said, I'm just getting bigger and bigger, unable to stop. And they said, there's this guided self-help group for people who have binge eating disorder. And it starts in May. Would you like to go on the group? So I said, yes, please. I would love to go on the group. So this was in the COVID. It was fairly new in the COVID. So we'd all discovered Zoom. So we had a Zoom meeting with about 7 or 8 other women. I was probably 30 years older than every other woman on that thing. I learned stuff that horrified me, stuff where I hadn't been with my eating disorder, stuff that every woman there was so brave because they shared stuff about their eating disorder. So they shared about the vomiting, they shared about the purging, they shared about the overeating. I was the one, not blowing my own trumpet, but looking at it objectively, I was the one who was the most consistent and did the best. But even then I was still messing around with the food. The reason that I did the best was because I was addressing my root cause issues as well. So there was this group that helped me form a really good, strong eating habit. And I still implement the program today. If I feel compulsive, doesn't happen nearly as often as it did, but if I feel compulsive, I very quickly recognize, oh, I'm feeling compulsive, something's afoot, and I'll do a little bit of writing, and it takes about 2-3 minutes for what the actual, because you don't always know what your issue is. It takes 2 or 3 minutes for the issue to surface, and then it's like, okay, what are some possible steps I could take to resolve this issue? And most of the time, it's actually just acknowledge it. That will take the edge off me wanting to eat badly. Not badly, it'll take the edge off me wanting to binge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I employ that program still every day. The latest thing with the eating was I realized I was a massive kitchen eater. I found that not everybody eats in the kitchen. I thought it was normal, like I was eating. So now I put policies in place. Don't eat in the kitchen. Get your food on a plate. Get it to the table. Don't eat half your meal in the kitchen. And I do that now. So the best thing, I guess, about this whole eating journey, because it's been I was 19 stone 1, and I'm now around about 9.5 stone. I'm a little bit under. I was clearly obsessive about weighing myself. So now I probably weigh myself, I'd say every 3 or 4 weeks, I feel an urge to weigh myself. I'm trying to get that down. But it's just to see I'm stabilizing. I'm stable. My weight is stable now. There's little fluctuation in it. But the best and most beautiful thing is I can get in and out of my house. There was to step into my house. It was difficult for me to negotiate. I can cut my own toenails. I can get onto a plane. I don't need to say, excuse me, can I please have one of those extender seat belts? Please, nobody hear me. What else can I do? I just get up. My clothes fit me every single day, that's the best blessing. I know I don't have to worry about my button being tight or anything like that. I think, like we were saying, there is still some way to go. I'm
quite particular about what I eat still. I would say it's not 100% healed. It needs to, I would like to improve it. I would like to be less fussy about what I put in my body. Yeah. Like have the occasional McDonald's, but have the occasional Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's if I want it. I mean, yes, just be a bit freer with food. It's still a big thing in my life, and I would like it to go into the background. So it's a work in progress. I think I will always be vulnerable to it. It's like, I know if I get stressed, I will still generate, because this happened since I'm 5 and I'm 58 now. If I get stressed, I will still get sensation in my mouth and my throat that I want to eat.
Yeah.
Because it's happened since I was 5. So it's noticing that, and then a pattern interrupt of, okay, this feeling's here. So I've got the pattern interrupt. I don't have to eat anymore. I can see the feeling now.
Yeah.
And it's, at the moment I'm still writing, but the thing for me would be able to do is just stay with the feeling, observe it. And I'm starting to be able to do that. I didn't explain how the switch happened. So I got diagnosed with a really serious illness in 2020 after I'd been on the eating disorders program. Thought I need to address because you play around, because you're so deep in your addiction or your malaise. It's a serious mental health issue. I will say that it's an adaptive response, but I just thought if I don't attend to it, I'm going to die, and I was terrified. So I allowed myself 4 days of eating all the chocolate, all the cheese, all the cream cakes that I could possibly cram into my mouth, and then it was like started. And I realized in my journey because I'd been having problems with eating and was eating so extremely for so long, I think I basically had an alcoholic liver. So there was a lot of food I couldn't eat. I was very sensitive. I'm now, only just now, the body's starting to become less sensitive.
Yeah. So now you're in a place whereby you feel stable enough to support other women in their journey. In terms of just holding space for them, a little bit like the group held space for you. And so we're going to put a link to Debbie's website down in the info. So if you do want to get in touch with her, or even just to have somebody that's kind of gone through the stuff that you feel that you might be going through, you know what I mean? And having someone that understands the struggle, I think it can be really healing to have that kind of support. Because obviously, like, Debbie's been through that whole process. She's still going through the process. Like, you're still having to find ways to continue your healing. And it is an ongoing journey. It's a little bit like they say with alcoholics, like they have to be teetotal for the rest of their lives. Like they have to keep watching it for the rest of their lives. It doesn't get to a point whereby the addiction is just, I mean, it becomes easier, but it doesn't necessarily, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We don't know, right? But it doesn't necessarily just disappear on its own. So it can be really good to have that support network. Right. This has been a really interesting interview, Debbie, and I'm so glad you've been courageous and open enough to share some of this, your experiences. And what I love about chatting with you is that honestly, you cover so much. And at the same time, you've managed to harness so much of this learning. And you have like such an open heart and so much courage, honestly, just so much courage. It's amazing to me to go through this whole process with so much openness. You know, it's kind of like you really are willing to look and see what's there and put it up and give it a good shake and see what comes out. And just that is amazing and a real inspiration for, I think, for a lot of people when they're in their own struggle. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But the reason that I'm so able to as well is because I have the Reiki. This is language, it's not correct, but it's because I do my Reiki. So even now I'm aware that there's some more changes with food that I would like to make. And when the time comes, I'm going to, I'm aware, and I'm just by having that awareness, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And then, but it's just, I have this, the Reiki it's my life. It's literally my life force, and it is me and I am it. And so, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but it's what keeps me focused. It's my central tenet of my life. So anything else can come and go. That will stay.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna close up now because we have been nattering away for quite some time. So
Yeah.
I just really thank you for coming on and having a nice chat with us. I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot out of this interview. And
you.
it's just little things, you know, it's kind of like the challenges that you've been through. And for me, just watching you through your whole journey, kind of like a spiritual journey, right? Of really reconnecting with Reiki again, and then just allowing that process to unfold in you. And as I say, one of the biggest transformations I personally have ever witnessed. So I'm so like pleased that and honored really to be a
Thank you.
part of your gang, as it were, and just being able to be part of your growth as well as you have been mine. So yeah, thank you so much. And thanks everyone for listening. I hope you found that helpful, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.